I became an actor, I never fantasized about playing James Bond. As a kid, yeah. But that was being James Bond, that was something else.
Welcome to Being James Bond, the longest running James Bond podcast in the world.
The name is Bond. James Bond.
And good morning. Welcome back to Being James Bond. This is your good buddy, head of section, here to talk to you about all things James Bond and specifically everything that is coming up in 2025. This is the intro that I now have to re-record. David and I had this discussion just a few days before the announcement of the Amazon MGM takeover of creative control of James Bond. So the intro that I had recorded and ready to go was much different. First off, it was me talking about how, hey, this is my first podcast back in a long time. Now it's, I've done 2 podcasts. One of them was a video. I did a live stream with Dutch Bond fan and Haphazard Stuff and a few guests. So yeah, you're probably, instead of this being my triumphant return, you're probably sick of hearing my voice already. So that's different. And then of course, part of what I was talking about was the fact that there was nothing happening in the world of James Bond. Therefore, the Bond community has to sort of fill in the gaps. But wow, that's kind of not true at all anymore. I've never seen the Bond community be so electrified and lit up by what's going on. So yeah, it's kind of a weird, interesting time. It's good. I mean, it's great stuff. A lot of mixed feelings, obviously, about the future of James Bond. Some optimism, a lot of pessimism. But, you know, again, it all remains to be seen. We are at a starting gate of a new era, and fingers crossed that this all goes the right way. But as you've heard me say multiple times now, I'm just very excited that things can happen, that there's a new path forward to new James Bond stuff. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to keep this short because, and again, a lot of the discussion you will hear are the things that I had sort of saved up but kind of had to put aside because of the news. But I wanted to talk about what yours truly has in store for the coming year. And as you will hear in the discussion with David, it starts off as a discussion about all of the events that are coming in 2025. But at some point, Dave kind of turns the tables on me and asks me what I have lined up for this year. So yeah, so it's gonna be. I can keep this short and let the conversation flow with David Zaritsky and myself. But just again, keep heart, Bond fans, because it's gonna be exciting times, you know, and hopefully we will be pleased with the things that are coming in it. And if we're not, you know, we will be honest about it and talk about it. But I'm trying to be cautiously optimistic, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the future. But regardless, 2025 is going to be a great year for Bond fans, and we'll tell you why. So let's bring in Dave Zaritsky, and let's talk about what's happening in 2025.
Transmission begins from Moneypenny.
Where is the solace that I crave?
David Zaritsky, what's going on, brother?
Mr. Joe Darlington. I think before we started this, we were saying this almost feels nostalgic that we're getting together and we're doing a podcast. This feels really cool.
It does. Oh my God, does it? I feel like the last few weeks have been me kind of feeling like my old self again and trying to get back into trying to get my groove back. You know what I'm saying?
I think you got it back. You got your reviews without remorse.
Yeah.
You've been on a lot of other shows. You're coming to do some videos with me with a creator day. I mean, it does feel like 4 or 5 years ago when you used to do this on a regular basis. I think you're back.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
oh my.
Part of me wants to say I never left, but I don't know. I do feel like I've been a little too absent to throw that one out there. But
you had some real life stuff. Yeah. And real life stuff has to take precedence. But now that you know, the grandkids are growing up and, you know, they're giving grandpa a little time to play.
That's a good way to look at it. Absolutely. Speaking of being back and being very excited to be back into the groove of things, my friend, I had to reach out and ask you and talk to you about what's coming up in 2025. I mean, what are the things that we can start to get excited about?
It's such a big question. And there's a big answer to it because I don't want to just represent the world of, David, the world of the Bond experience. So I actually did a little bit of homework, and I think I can kind of roll out the year, and we can talk about each one and poke at it and things, and maybe give your listeners a little bit of a sneak peek. But there is what I'm loving about this year, before I get into the details of the events, is there are small events. I mean, small, like 5-7 people, to big events, 150, to really big event, like 3,000 people, and everything in between. So, and by the way, every level of pocketbook, like there's free events, there's events that will make your accountants wince and tear up, and your spouses go, what did I get myself into? Like there's everything in between. But that's what I love about this year. For example, there's something right around the corner, and I don't know if you're even aware of this, but so do you know? Yeah, I'm sure you do. Do you know about the whole Washington DC Bond fan club?
Is that the Capital
Capital Royale 007?
Yeah.
Yep, it is.
Yes, I do. I'm aware of them. Yes.
Yeah. James Burb, Melanie, leads that group. It's a great group. It's a small group. It's a growing group. But all you have to do is go on their Instagram to join. But on March 8th in Arlington, they are having an On Her Majesty's Secret Service themed happy hour at a retro bar named 1969, which is perfect, of course, for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, if somebody lives in the Arlington, Virginia area, or if they want to join up with these people, great bunch of people, very positive, for just a happy hour. Like, you travel 30 minutes, you go to a happy hour, you talk Bond, you talk other things. Like, these are the types of things I'm seeing throughout the year. But how cool is that?
That's incredible. If you see me looking a little sideways, it's only because I'm looking at my calendar and just sort of wondering what's
can I make it? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You go by my house, so you could pick me up on the way there.
This is true. We've done it before, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Well, not to be outdone. So hold on. This group they've already got their shit together. On Memorial Day weekend, they're having a Moonraker celebration. I think this is actually genius. This is the secret of using your geography environment for James Bond. But they're going to have, at the Space Center in Washington, D.C., they're going to have a Moonraker themed interactive adventure. And they're going to have a walking tour of DC with hotspots of real life spy activity. But it's a big event. It's going to be like a family event, and it's going to be like an entire Moonraker Memorial Weekend celebration.
Wow. That's wild. That's perfect.
Right?
Yeah. What better time to be in DC than Memorial Day weekend?
Exactly. And then finally, they're scheduling. They haven't given me a date yet. They're going to have a big Bond-themed golf outing. I think they had one last year. It was very successful. And again, this is like a group that maybe they're 25, 30, 35 people. They're burgeoning, but it's such a positive group. I think they have a sister or brother, take whatever gender you want, group in Los Angeles that are trying to also do similar activities. But that's just kicking off the year.
Wow. That's incredible. That is unbelievable.
Pretty cool, right?
That's really cool. Yeah. And again, it goes to show you, like, it's, how you almost get a sense of pride when you hear about other groups starting up, other groups kind of getting their groove on and some things are starting to blossom. You know what I mean? I just love that.
To me, it's a testimony of somebody out there, somebody's groups saying, something, I get it. We're not going to have a movie. Chances are we're not going to have any news.
Yeah.
Even this year. And we can talk about that later. But you know what? That's fine. We can still enjoy James Bond, but we're going to have to take control. and nobody's anointed us. Nobody's an ambassador for Eon. We're just, Nook Schlepper fans just trying to eke our way through the galaxy, like, Jango Fett. Um, uh, 007 GB, they're like, the opposite of Capital Royale in the fact that they're the biggest club in the world. But they've got, for example, they're doing something in Scotland, in Edinburgh. On April 5th and 6th, they're having a whole Thunderball 60th celebration with Martine Beswick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's called
Sweet.
Operation Kaplan. They're going to be showing the film. They're going to have people. They're going to have vittles. So yeah, but that's how they do it. I mean, 007 GB, they don't go small.
Yeah, no, they certainly don't. Yeah, and Phil definitely is the right guy to be leading that charge.
Yeah, well, I just did. I don't know if you saw it. It's long, so it's a commitment in time. But I did a 2-hour video on the 6 different presidents of 6 different.
I didn't see the whole thing. I watched a bunch of it. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, but you notice the one similarity is that I'm going to say it. Every one of these presidents, they're characters, and they have to be larger than life because they're striking a balance between nothing going on and then creating something from scratch.
Yeah. Yes, you're so right. A lot of these fellas, it's interesting that some of these clubs have been around for a long time, have really sort of withstood the test of time, and a lot of these are kind of upstarts, and a lot of them, it's kind of a testament to how they've moved very quickly, and become very prominent in a very short amount of time.
Absolutely.
And I think that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think 007 GB, they're having, and this is the first time ever, and again, a testimony to, I'll call it the galvanization of the Bond community. So the UK Bond fan club, the Swiss one, the French one, and the German one have all come together to create something called Operation Pegasus. And that's going to be the 31st of May in Chantilly, France. And this is big. I mean, they're going to have multiple stars from A View to a Kill, but it's an entire, instead of just touring this castle, Chantilly, they're going to be taking you through the moments of the film. So you're going to be living the film, in the location, to take those goofy pictures that we like to take, and having food and connecting with people. And yeah, it's just, that's the type of stuff they're pulling together.